I was a finalist, down to 20 people for the show on the E! Channel, the Wayne Newton show, The Entertainer. It was a short-lived show on the E! Channel. Went to Vegas. I was living out here, actually. This was the first time I lived in Phoenix. And actually heard about the audition, went to Vegas, went in on a stood in line just like America's Got Talent or, American Idol. And finally got in there, did like 2 minutes of stand-up. And I didn't know what to expect, and then went back to the hotel, actually played slots, won $500, ordered steak and wine in the room. So it was a good night. 2 weeks goes by or whatever. There's a picture on the wall over there, and that's the contract that they sent me. So they sent me a contract. I made it to the final 20 contestants. I got called back the next day. So I went back into the auditioned again. And then they're like, we're going to fly you to Hollywood to the E! Studios. And it was legit, man. You walk in, you could see Ryan Seacrest, and it was
That's cool.
Yeah. So I go there, and so this is behind the scenes, right, of a reality show. So what it was a $1 million winner, and you got to perform in Vegas for a year. So it was like a really big
residency.
Deal. Yeah, and I guess open for Wayne or whatever. So there were actors, there were comics, there were musicians, there were magicians, and I made it to the final 20, but before that got started, you had to actually, the crazy stuff is, so I had to get drug tested, I had to get STD tested, I had to meet with a private investigator, and I had to meet with a psychiatrist. And this is all for a reality show, and here's the breakdown. So I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So in one day, you go to the studios. So first I get drug tested, and I'm like, I go, what is this for? They're like, well, look, we don't care if you're on drugs. We just want to know what kind of shit you're on.
Let's go.
So that we can make sure, we're not getting a heroin addict or something. It wasn't like they were going to turn you into the police if you pop positive. You weren't getting fired. You weren't getting sent home. Then maybe they gave you a number to a rehab center. I don't know. So that I got. And then I had to get STD tested. And they explained it to me. They said, well, that's for liability. That's in case you happen to sleep with one of the other contestants on the show while filming and you give them an STD, which I was planning on.
Wow.
If I was going to get on the show, I had a girlfriend at the time. And I believe in my heart of hearts, once I told them that I lived with a girl, that they were like, nah, we don't want this dude on. Because, it's reality TV. They want chaos. So, turns out STD free.
Let's go.
That was a good one. Thank you. I did get tested again in rehab most recently and haven't had sex since. So I'm clean. Year and a half clean, 100%. In every way possible, I'm clean.
Right? Yeah. Same.
So now I have to meet with a private investigator, and I have to meet with the psychiatrist. The private investigator was out of Central Casting. He had the blazer on, the mustache. He had the cop mustache.
My favorite.
He was from New York. He had the wind tunnel hairdo, slick back, and he's like, come on in, have a seat. He's like, I'm going to ask you a series of questions. There's no right or wrong answers. This is just an evaluation. The biggest thing is I want you to be 100% honest, because if there's anything that you have done in your past and it comes up and we don't know about it, and I'm like, I'm like, wow, that's just tall. He's like, and then we're going to have to play cover up. If you're on the show, we're going to have to go out and, put out fires on, I guess, I don't even know if they had TMZ back then. But anyways,
I don't think so.
If you became a big star, they wanted to know. Well, so have you ever done anything in your past that someone might call a tabloid and tell them about? I'm like, what, like fucking a dog? I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, not a dog. But anyways, I'm kidding about the animal fucking. Anyway, so he says, the first question, he's like, it's not right or wrong. Just be honest. Have you ever had a same-sex experience? I'm like, what do you mean? Like the same old sex or the same old sex?
Nope.
And he's like, yeah, the second one. I'm like, not when I was sober. Anyway, so he gets, I'm joking. Again, I'm joking. It's not the reaction I want from you. Like, Jesus, seriously?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. But then I get to the psychiatrist, and this was even better. She said, I'm going to have to ask you a series of questions. Again, no right or wrong answers. One of the first questions she's asking, do you hear things that other people don't hear? I'm like, what, like voices in your head? And I looked at her and I went, shut up, fucker, I'll tell her. And then I said, no. She goes, let me guess, you're one of the comedians. And the last question, I can't make this shit up. She said, do you think you have superpowers? I said, well, not in this fucking outfit. You got a phone booth around here? But
I'll be right back.
So this is all legitimate shit that happened behind the scenes of auditioning for a reality television show. So everything is staged 1,000%. And then I had to go audition in this studio room with all the boom lights and everything in front of Wayne Newton and like 5 producers. Biggest nightmare ever for a comedian, because comedians feed off of their audience, right? 100%. So I had to sit there and do stand up in front of 7 people, and they were just stone faced, just staring at me.
Does Wayne Newton look plastic in person?
He does, 100%. I was just gonna say it. He looks like a plastic person. All right, moving forward, boy, that was a blast from the past.